right. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to let a few more folks file in real quickly. I just sent an update out to our clients on Clarity who are in kind of the path of some of these storms. Want them to know we're live discussing some of this. So I'm going to give it just a moment. For those who've joined, thanks for joining me. The focus is obviously going to be out into Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, eastern Kansas. And then I'll be tracking this through the evening, doing my best to give folks some updating on some timing and whatnot. But a rather severe, a robust severe threat ongoing at this point. We've got some confirmed tornado warnings up into southeastern Minnesota, couple tornado warnings into northern Iowa, eastern Iowa, starting to work their way into northwestern Illinois. Further off to the south and to the west, yeah, there's a lot of storms developing. No tornado warning yet, but these storms will pack a punch into eastern Kansas. That you can see, not only do we have widespread tornado watches that really extend from Oklahoma up through Wisconsin, but we've got some flash flood watches as well. So that's going to be the other concern for some heavy rain. With time, this will start to build and organize as we head into the evening for some decent rain for some folks out ahead of where these storms are currently at. So, of course, real quickly, I knew there would be a lot of folks in central Indiana. Just keep in mind, I do think some of these storms can work their way getting into Indiana this evening. Certainly won't be my focus of this particular live stream, but as we get to tomorrow morning, 3 to 5, some storms rolling through, low and risk for some strong wind gusts. A little bit of instability still left, but they are not going to pack a punch like they will back off to the west. We'll give it about 30 more seconds, and I'm going to start looking into some of these cells. Michael, very welcome. I want to focus in before we get into it. There's a lot of storms I want to talk about. First is going to be these group of storms into approaching northwestern Illinois, actually in northwestern Illinois as we speak. The environment's pretty good out ahead of these storms, so something you need to watch out if you're into southern Wisconsin, far northern Illinois over the next couple hours with some of these storms. And then we'll shift gears. We'll kind of work our way back out to the west, and we'll work our way from north to south. We'll talk about some of these storms east of Rochester, Minnesota, and then we'll work our way down through Iowa with some of these tornado warned storms. And I'll be checking periodically on some of these storms off into eastern Kansas as well, to see what we're looking at with those. While the tornado threat may be a little bit less further to the south and to the west, still the threat for tornadoes into Kansas, and then some very strong winds and very large hail possible as well. Thomas, great for joining. Mansfield in Ohio, not particularly anything significant getting into tomorrow. Again, guys, the focus of this, I'm going to be focusing on some of these storms here out to the west. So real quick, let me zoom in on some of these, and I'm going to be using our tracking tool in Clarity. And if you know anyone in this area, or you're in this area and you're finding this stream helpful, like, share, comment. It helps us just reach more people. And I'm going to do my best to really help some folks out. If you're interested in signing up for our Clarity application, that's the radar I'm showing us right now. It's where all of our forecast products go through. You can sign that QR code in the top right-hand corner. Someone on my team will put the sign-up link. We're actually having a 20% sale right now. You can use the code STORM20 to get a 20% discount. So now's the time. I think that goes out through some point into tomorrow, I believe. Okay, let me confirm with the team real quick at the speed they're getting. And we will start timing these out. I do notice kind of by Bellevue, we do have an area of rotation kind of right into here. You can see this little inflow notch. We do have some rotation showing up right into just south of, or right over Bellevue, Illinois at this moment in time, and a secondary area a little bit further north and west, just south of Scales Mound as well. So 2 areas of rotation, hence the 2 separate tornado warnings we have in effect, in addition to a severe thunderstorm warning and even a flash flood warning, I believe that is. Yeah, flash flood warning as well into far northwestern Illinois at this moment in time. Okay, so if we use 20 or 45 miles per hour, that's generally the speed my team's been getting. Let me kind of loop the radar out just a little bit, and I can get a sense of trajectory of some of these storms. The concern when we have rotation is as the storms continue to have the rotation, they can typically, versus their normal storm motion, veer off a little bit to the right. Very common with some of these storms that have spin in them. So that'll be something we'll need to watch if these can veer off maybe a little bit further to the right. But let's take a look. It looks at a general kind of east-northeast trajectory, something like this, towards Monroe. So we're going to time out first this northern cell, and then we will time out the southern cell as well. I'm going to use the storm track tool, and you can see a new tornado warning just issued here just to the east of some of these storms. Again, radar indicated. I don't see anything as far as confirmed yet. If someone's in the comments and they see anything that can maybe confirm this, let me know. That information is certainly helpful for me. So first and foremost, we're going to get the storm further to the north. We're going to time this out. So I'm going to bring out the timing tool here in clarity, and we will make the northern one a purple color. 45 miles per hour we're going to use for the speed of this particular cell. Just south of Scales Mound, where I see the rotation kind of at about, I would say about here more or less. I'm going to have this go to about Monroe is where I'm going to target this area of rotation to work. So in a fashion such as this, keep in mind, I'm trying my best to time out the rotation. You may get some storms that arrive and rain that arrives prior to this, so I'm doing my best to time out the area of rotation for some of you folks with this particular cell. And I think especially along and south of this blue dash line areas to watch out for. So here's some times. These aren't Eastern, keep in mind. That'd be about 302 Central, right, for Apple River, Warren 308. Getting towards Browntown, Wisconsin, 324. Winslow, about 319 Central. Monroe, 334 Central. So watching this particular cell closely, there is some rotation being noted in that particular cell. Another tornado warned storm off to the south, and you can clearly see where the rotation's at with this little inflow notch on the south side of this. This is kind of right by Bellevue, right along the Mississippi River, along the Iowa-Illinois border. So once again, let's go ahead and time this out. I'm going to use blue as a timing for this particular cell. And again, I'm going to do my best to time out the area of rotation in this. In fact, I'm going to go to the cellular mode for this particular cell. And let's time this out as well. Let's bring this out a little bit further if I can. A little bit of technical difficulties here, but we'll get it. Blue, and we will have this go out. Let's extend this out a little bit to about, in some of these spots, right into the blue area. So again, trying my best to time out this particular area of rotation. Again, keep in mind, like I said, for the storm further to the north, these are in Central Time, or these are in Eastern Time. So subtract an hour to get into Central. But Elizabeth, that's 305 Central. Woodbine, 311. And there's really a lack of cities in here. But if you're in this blue area, keep in mind, out through about over the next hour, it gets to this dark blue line, so to speak. So let's watch this storm closely over the next 60 minutes. This particular cell, the environment out ahead of both of these storms is fairly supportive for rotation. And I see two different pockets of rotation in this. The environment out ahead can help sustain these. And unfortunately, the environment does also foster the ability for some of these to be strong in nature. So there could end up being a strong tornado in this particular setup as well. Outside of that, there is a severe thunderstorm warning for 1-inch hail. Let me bring up the reflectivity for us on a different model product I have off the screen. Yeah, would not be shocked if we can get some hail over 1 inch on the south or on the north side of that Bellevue storm as well. You can see some of these radar returns rather robust. So Rice probably getting some large hail at this moment in time. Again, 1+ inch would not shock me in this particular environment. That's also moving northeast as well. Again, for a lot of you folks I know are in central Indiana watching this, some storms roll through tomorrow morning. They could have some strong to severe wind gusts, but the threat looks awfully low, around 3 to 5 tomorrow morning around central Indiana. I want to focus on some of these tornado warnings that we're dealing with right now. From Denver, yes, Denver is snowy. That kind of shows you, Jamie, how strong the system is. You've got snow off into Denver right now, and then severe weather off to the east. So this large change in temperatures, and keep in mind, this is our front, right? Behind the system, temperatures will crash, will plummet, and so we do have some frost potential upcoming, heading late into the weekend, into early next week. Not necessarily atypical. It's still spring. We get these big up and down temperatures, usually associated with severe weather. Now let's shift gears back off to the west. I talked about some of these storms along the Illinois-Wisconsin border. Again, if you need to be watching, if you're towards Janesville, Monroe, west of Rockford and northwestern Illinois, for some of these areas of rotation to swing through. The environment's very good, but the environment clearly is quite conducive for rotation, even back further off to the west, where we do have multiple tornado warnings in effect. We've got one just south of Marshalltown, Iowa. We've got one just north of Waterloo towards Waverly, Iowa. We've got a couple further off to the north towards Cresco into northeastern Iowa, and then some confirmed tornadoes. This is what the purple colors indicate on the Clarity platform between Rochester and Winona, Minnesota as well. So let's work our way down. I'm going to first discuss the storms further to the north, and let me confirm with my team real quick on timing so we can use the timing tool in Clarity to give us a sense of the timing. And then we will talk about this. So bear with me just 1 second while I get some timing from my team, and we can use the Clarity tracking tool to get a sense of timing of these particular areas of storms. Randy, great to see you. Hope you're doing well. Another loud night for you in Chicago. Not going to be probably as robust as the tornado threat out west when it roll out. It's probably more of a line for you, Randy, this evening. But there could be some embedded rotations for you this evening. But heavy rain, strong winds, certainly will at play. Yes, Randy, you nailed the nail on the head. The storm, the environment's probably air you can wear out there for you in Chicago. The environment's certainly going to be very supportive for storms. These are going to organize a little bit, Randy, with time. And as they do so, as we start to see these storms organize a little bit for you in Chicago, it's going to start to turn into that of especially wind gusts, especially heavy rain, more of a cluster of storms. So my team's getting about 45 miles per hour for some of these storms, kind of stretch up and down from Minnesota down into Iowa right now. So let's tackle these one at a time. There's really not one good way to go about it. We just have to track one of these storms one at a time. If you are in the track of some of these storms, reach out in the comments. I'd be happy to kind of pivot to where you're located, especially. Eastern Dane County, Wisconsin. There you go. Eastern Dane County, Wisconsin, checking in clouds, filling in quick. Yeah, so for you in Wisconsin, you've got some of these storms right now, especially concerned about the storms which look to be tracking to your south, especially. It's worth watching the other storms right now. I don't know where you're at. If you're in southeastern Dane County, I suppose it's worth watching this northern cell in particular for any type of rotation that may get to you. We'll just need to watch that closely. Let's keep an eye, especially as we get towards about 350, 430 for this first initial wave. We'll have another wave later into the evening as well that we'll need to keep a close tab on as the line out to the west starts to approach your area. But right now, you probably will get some rain and some storms, but it seems the storms, especially to the south of you, south of Dane County, which are going to pack most of the punch. So right now, I think you're probably in a good spot depending on where you're at in Dane County. Okay. Let's go back to the storm into Minnesota. I've got on another screen, I'm looking at velocities and areas of rotation. And keep in mind, this is an observed tornado. So whether that's through social media or some other avenues, National Weather Service has deemed this an observed tornado. In particular, where I see the rotation seems to be just north of Elba. See if we can get this to pop up. This little notch I'm kind of circling with my mouse. That seems to be where the rotation's at. And if we try to get a trajectory of this particular area of rotation, I want to do my best to time out properly where this could track. I might have to use my phone. I'm having some issues on my my laptop version of this, but quite a few tornado warnings ongoing. We've got some more to talk about further to the east in Wisconsin as well. But we're going to discuss this one since it is an observed. It looks like it's making a beeline towards Buffalo City. So let's use that as a guide for us on this particular cell. This is the area I'm most concerned with. You may have a few embedded pockets elsewhere, hence the fairly large observed tornado warning we have on the cell. They're not as clear as the one I see, again, approaching Buffalo City. So I'm going to bring out the draw tool for us and try my best to indicate where this area of rotation can start to impact towards Buffalo City. There we go. I was on the wrong type. Getting about 48 miles per hour on this particular cell. Buffalo City, I've got 314 Central. And again, I'm trying to time out the area of rotation. Obviously, you're getting some rain and some storms right now. Areas like Glencoe, 3:29 p.m. Central. I'm going to do my best to pronounce this. Wamandi, about 3:26 p.m. Central for this particular cell. Let's go ahead, and I do see some rotations south of St. Charles as well. And just given that this is a fairly massive observed tornado warning, I do want to at least go ahead and time out this cell by St. Charles as well. And then we're going to work our way down south because we have another observed tornado warning northwest of Cresco. So I do want to get into that as well. But let's take a look at this. Again, 48 miles per hour with this particular cell. Just south of St. Charles, give or take. Moving in a fashion like this. Get this out 60 minutes for some of you folks out ahead of this particular cell. Again, do see some rotation. It's a fairly large observed tornado warning. And so I don't know if every single area of rotation is being observed or not. But regardless, do at least see some rotation on the southern edge of the cell. If you end up, I've got this, keep in mind, these timings out ahead of the current National Weather Service tornado warnings. So just keep that in mind. But if and when the tornado warnings get issued further off to the east, northeast, please heed those warnings. This is, you can see the timings. Again, these aren't Eastern, so subtract an hour for Central. Utica, that's about 3:11. Lewiston, 3:17. Stockton, 3:24. Bluff Siding, 3:34. Dodge, 3:39 Central. Galesville, 3:50 p.m. Central. Let me scroll up in the comments a little bit. I'm at Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. How bad in Osage Beach? We'll take a look at that here in just a moment. I'm on the very south of Dane County. Okay, so you'll need to watch these storms very closely as they move off to the north and to the east. Let's give this one a little bit more time. It looks like it's going to track mostly south of Dane County right now, but it's just worth watching some of these other storms. Right now, nothing of concern at this moment in time, but keep in mind we do have some additional storms off to the west. We do have another tornado warning, again, approaching Reedsburg. We've been getting, I think, about 45 miles per hour at this particular cell. These cells out ahead of the cold front, so moving a little bit slower than the storms back off further to the west. And so if we loop the radar just to give a good sense of trajectory with this storm by Reedsburg, and we'll go over that as well, looks like it's kind of moving in a bit of a northeast fashion. Let me look at the velocity. Yeah, I certainly see some rotation by Maplehurst here further to the north and to the west into Wisconsin. Again, just west of Reedsburg. So let's go ahead and do our best to time out this particular cell. And then I do want to get back into Iowa and start discussing some of those circulations as well. We'll make this one purple. About in a fashion like this, I believe. Just sometimes, again, I'm doing my best to more or less time out the area of rotation, but you can see areas towards, say, Ironton, that's about 313 central, Reedsburg 320, town of Linden 333 central. Again, tornado warning on that cell. I do see some rotation. You're out ahead of that storm. Please seek shelter. And with any of these tornado warnings today, just given the environment we're dealing with, it's not worth playing around. Go ahead and seek shelter because the environment is supportive of tornadoes, in addition to very large hail and some damaging winds as well. Okay, let's work our way back down to the south. We've got a group of tornado warned storms just west of Decorah. In a second, I am going to get back to some of these messages here, but I do want to talk about some of these tornado warnings ongoing that we have. I see someone, Rachel, asking about Saukville, Wisconsin. Have girls basketball tourney there at 6 p.m. Central. I do want to discuss that real quick. To be honest, I'll have to Google where Saukville's at. I don't know exactly in particular where that's at. I'll do my best to address that for you. But I do want to talk about some of these ongoing tornado warnings in northern Iowa right now. So again, let's loop the radar a little bit. And just to give us a sense of trajectory of some of these storms, looks like they're kind of moving in a northeast fashion. So we will use the storm track tool to help guide us in that instance. I do want to check out the rotation in some of these storms as well to make sure I for one, agree with the National Weather Service in terms of rotation showing up. I don't want to play around with, in particular, for this storm in northern Iowa that is a observed tornado. So we're going to go ahead and time that out. The rotation I'll admit, doesn't look overly robust. I might check the Minneapolis radar real quick, see if it shows up a little bit better. Regardless, it is confirmed by some sources into this particular cell. So we're going to time this out using about 48 miles per hour. And we'll go ahead, we'll make this one blue. Or yellow. Blue, yellow, whatever color. In a fashion like this. And here's some times out ahead of this. Again, I'm timing out the area of rotation, not necessarily the storm itself. You've got Granger at 3:12 Central. Again, keep in mind these are on Eastern Time. Harmony 3:21 Central. Canton 3:25. Amherst 3:30. Newburgh 3:33. Black Hammer 3:43. Yucatan 3:44. Caledonia 3:53. Okay. Shifting our way back south, let's talk about some of these storms further to the south. I do want to check to make sure there's no observed tornado warnings ongoing with some of these storms into Iowa. It looks like just all radar indicated tornado warnings at this point. We also do have another tornado warning north of Kansas City, kind of in between Kansas City and St. Joseph. So I do want to discuss that as well. And real quickly, I do want to check on some of these severe thunderstorm warnings for some of you folks off into eastern Kansas, because I know there's a threat of some fairly robust winds and large hail, but we do have some of these hail warnings that are about 1.25 to 1.5 inches into eastern Kansas right now. Outside of the tornado warnings, just to give us a little bit of visibility, you can see some 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail, 1.25 inch, 60 miles per hour. Do not be surprised as some of these storms can get even more rowdy, and would not be shocked to see some hail in some of these warnings that are 2 inches or even higher at times, and even some over 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts in some of the more robust thunderstorms. Okay, without further ado, let's get into this one west of Decorah. Again, I want to check the rotation on this particular storm. I'll be honest, I'm not seeing significant amounts of rotation on that particular cell. Interesting that the National Weather Service has that particular cell warned. It may have had a little bit more robust rotation at one point in time. In fact, the storm that is tornado warned on that may have lost a little bit of steam, so to speak. I'm going to check out the storm. Maybe a little bit more pressing is the storm further to the south and to the west of that one. I at least do see some more noticeable rotation in that cell by Tripoli, Iowa. So if we go down one by Tripoli, that's a county north of Waterloo. It looks like they may have gotten rid of the tornado warning. I still see some rotation in this cell. I'm going to go ahead and time it out just because I do still see some rotation. You can even see the inflow notch just east of Waverly. So I'm going to go ahead and time this out for us. And after I get done timing out some of these cells, I am going to go back to some of your questions. I do want to address your Saukville one for I know you said you've got a game at 6 p.m. tonight, so I want to help you out with that. But let's go ahead and discuss this one. And we'll go ahead and use blue for real this time. We're going to start drawing this out. Again, more or less the area of rotation for some of you folks out ahead of this cell, getting about 48 miles per hour. And here's some timings out ahead of this. Tripoli, 319 Central, Sumner, 330 Central. Westgate, it may end up passing just to north. It'll be close. Again, the concern I have is if these rotations can really get themselves going, they will start to meander off to the east. So you're not completely out of the woods. Westgate, that'd be around 333 Central. On top of the tornadic risk I'm discussing, again, the wind gust and the hail risk are also going to be a concern with these as well. Somebody talking about they got pounded by hail up there Tuesday. You're talking probably what, northern Chicago? Yeah, some nasty weather. It's been northern Illinois. It's been southern Wisconsin. It's been been kind of the main threat area. Mitch, thank you, Mitch. That's going to help me out instead of me Googling where that location is. All right, next is this cell south and east of Marshalltown. We have yet another tornado warning ongoing. I'm going to switch to the Des Moines radar and see. Yeah, I certainly see the rotation in that particular cell. Again, kind of by Toledo. Actually, the area of rotation I'm seeing is actually on the northwest side, northwest of Toledo. It's a bit messy on the velocity, but the area I see at least the most rotation showing up is right about where I'm circling with my mouse, in my opinion. There could be another secondary source just west of Tama as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to time out that general area for us. We're going to continue along this theme of about 48 miles per hour with these particular cells. Go a little bit towards center point. Okay. And again, I'm trying to time the area of circulation out. Okay. And keep in mind these times are in Eastern. So if you're in Central, subtract an hour. I'll read just a few out. Cloutier, 3:30 p.m. Garrison, 3:47. Vinton, 3:55. Shellsburg, 4:02. Centerpoint, 4:10. Okay, let's keep an eye on these storms. Outside of some of the storms I'm discussing, by the way, any of these storms can quickly go tornado warned. Okay, so all these storms need to be monitored closely. Obviously, there's quite a few of them, and so I can't talk about 5 storms at once, unfortunately. Okay, south and east of Des Moines, we have yet another tornado warning. This is west of Albia, east of Chariton. Let's take a look at that one. I want to see what type of rotation it has and see if I'm seeing anything notable as far as rotation is concerned with that cell. I do at least see some weak rotation in that, looking at the Des Moines radar. It did look like it was a little bit more impressive about 14 minutes ago when it was by Russell. The rotation does not look as impressive. And it does look like the National Weather Service did a pretty good job with their tornado warning area. It does look like it is more or less taking this northeast deviation. So a bit of an oddball of a storm, just the way it's tracking. But if we do take a look at that, it looks like it's just west of Lovelia, the area of rotation, maybe this little inflow notch right where I'm circling with my mouse. So if we take a look at that, let's go ahead and use about 48 miles per hour in this particular cell. We'll go over the next 30 minutes. I have a suspicion this area of rotation likely is going to struggle to be sustained for a very long time. Looks like they did just drop the tornado warning, but I'm going to go ahead and read out these timings regardless. There is still at least some weak rotation on this. Again, just west of Lovalia, if I'm pronouncing that right. You can see Harvey 336, Langton 341. Pella, my gut says it goes just here east, but worth monitoring 343 central. Okay, let's see. I think we've discussed about almost every single tornado warned storm thus far, and we'll pivot back to Wisconsin because there are a few folks asking about, or at least have mentioned Saukville in Wisconsin. So I do want to address that, which is, I guess, just west of Milwaukee. Last kind of tornado warned storm that I see is south of St. Joseph. So again, let's take a look at this particular cell. And first and foremost, I obviously want to assess the area of rotation myself. I don't just want to go blindly what the National Weather Service has. Certainly see the area of rotation in that. DeKalb, Missouri, kind of by Lewis and Clark Village, west of Ireton, I believe. This kind of area rotation would be right about this where I'm circling with my mouse. And let me see if I can get a good trajectory of the rotation itself. It does look like it may be meandering just a little bit to the east, which is always a concern with these rotating storms. So taking a look at some of these, I am going to account for some of that eastward shift, so to speak. Areas such as this. And let's go out a little bit with this one over the next hour or so. You can see some of these times. Again, the southern 2/3 of this, I'd say, at greatest risk. Let me zoom in a little bit so we can get a little bit more cities showing up. You can see Dearborn, that's 336 central. Edgerton, that's 344. Gower, 349. Plattsburgh, 357. Lathrop, 405. Turney, about 408 central for that particular storm. Okay. We have gone through the gauntlet, so to speak, of all of the tornado warned storms that we have. Interesting as well. Well, not yet. We've got some new tornado warnings up by Medford, and check out some of these warnings. Again, we're looking at clarity. If you're interested in our application, my team's sending out nowcast as we speak, interacting with clients, etc. But when you see these orange warnings that show up, that's actually a destructive tag. And here we go. This was my concern. You can see this particular warning just west of Wausau has 2.75-inch hail. That is the warning 60-mile-per-hour winds with a tornado detection as possible. So packing a heck of a punch. The storm to the south, this may be one severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, it looks like it is. Again, this is a fairly large, destructive, severe thunderstorm warning just west of Wausau, west of Stevens Point towards Pittsfield, approaching Mansfield. Again, the 2.75-inch hail tag in this and 60-mile-per-hour winds with this storm. And so if you are towards Stevens Point, if you are towards Wausau, that this will be a storm, regardless of tornado or not, that can really pack a punch. And you can see that the very large hail that we could be dealing with this particular storm. I'm going to have to see if there's any reports I'm seeing kind of fill in of the hail to maybe corroborate that just a little bit. I'm not seeing a whole lot, if I have to be honest. Regardless, nasty storms, no doubt about it. Let's go back south real quick. Keep in mind, this is now a tornado reported in northwestern Illinois. A tornado reported, so a confirmed tornado warning by Stockton, Lena, Kent, Pearl City into far northwestern Illinois. So let's talk about this one since it is a confirmed tornado warning. Looks like the area of rotation. If you are by Stockton, I'm going to clear all the timings that we just did. If you're by Stockton, that looks like where the area of rotation is. It may be rain wrapped. That would be the concern. But from my vantage point, looking at some velocity on radar, I'm going to check the Davenport radar real quick. Looks pretty messy as far as the velocities are concerned. I'm going to check the Milwaukee radar for us real quick as well. Regardless, this is probably the general area. If you're towards Stockton, Kent, Lena, especially, seek shelter immediately. I believe the team's been getting about 45 miles per hour. And based off the latest scans of this, it is moving rather east, unfortunately. So let's get a new timing out for this. I'm going to make this a blue timer. And we're going to time out this general area right where I'm locating at. In general, where the area of rotation is. I'm going to do my best to time out this area of rotation for us. It does look like it's moving quite west to east. So you can see some of these timings I have up. Again, I'm going to keep mentioning this. The times are in Eastern, so subtract an hour for Central. Lena, that's 3:37 Central. Freeport, that's 3:48. Orangeville, 3:51. Rock Grove, 3:59. Davis, 4:04 for some of these storms. And again, I'll expand this east. Rockford, you may be maybe a little bit too far south for the storm. It's certainly worth watching for these storms to track into your area as we get closer towards about 4:20 Central. Okay. About 33 miles south of Rockford now, headed to Madison, Wisconsin. Curtis, yeah, if they're leaving right now, they need to be very mindful of these storms. I don't know how long it's going to take them to get into Madison. It may be, I wouldn't play around with some of these storms. And it looks like as they do go north, they are going to encounter some of these storms towards Madison. So again, I would maybe give them a quick shout. It may be worth kind of letting these storms on radar pass by real quick before they head that way. Personally, I wouldn't want to drive through that, especially since there is a confirmed tornado on that particular cell. And again, you can see north of Rockford, again, around 420. I don't know where they'll be around 420 Central in about an hour, but they need to watch those storms closely. I do want to go back and address one of the questions. Saukville, basketball turning there at 6 p.m. Central Time. If we just real quickly, I'm going to delete this track, and let me see if I can zoom in and find Saukville for us. I'm going to Google search it because I want to help you out. Okay, it's north of Milwaukee. Okay. My apologies. Somewhere in this particular area. Well, team's getting about 48 miles per hour of these particular storms. So if I time this out for us in general, let's just get a general like first wave timing. .45, I believe, for this particular storm. It would be towards the beginning, around or right before, since these are in Eastern time. So 5:12 Central, more or less, for these to get into your neck of the woods in Saukville. They'll need to be watched for strong to severe storms, wind gusts, hail, tornadoes. All of it, unfortunately, will be possible with some of these storms. In fact, I want to do the same for some of you folks into eastern Iowa. If we could just time out this general group of storms to give us all a general sense of in totality as these storms move off to the east. We do have some additional storms forming off to the southeast. No tornado warnings. I'll check the velocity in a second to see if there's any issues with those particular storms. Okay, perfect. An hour and 12 minutes left on the drive. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Curtis, reach back out in about 30 minutes and let's take a look. They're going to be maybe pushing it a little bit, Curtis. I would not want them driving through these storms. Okay. 48 miles per hour is the general timing. Keep in mind, as I do this timing, it's not possible. You can see some flare-ups by, say, Cedar Rapids that are forming out ahead. I do at least want to check that cell. Anytime you've got a line of storms that forms and you get something that pop out ahead in an environment like this, always has me at least initially concerned there may be a better threat for rotation. Right now, not seeing it at this moment in time with that storm by Cedar Rapids. Just looks like a nasty storm. Right now, the severe thunderstorm warning, 1-inch hail, about 50, 60 mile per hour winds, 50 mile per hour winds. There we go. Okay, 48 miles per hour. We're going to time this all up and down this line into Iowa. We're going to use blue as the timer. And let's loop the radar real quick, get a sense. Kind of moving, you can see kind of this northeast trajectory, at least the storms along the cold front. Probably more in a fashion like this. We're going to go out about 2 hours. We'll go out 3 hours, so 180 minutes, give or take. And here's some general timing. You see Davenport actually be around 6 p.m. Central. This timing can hold. Cedar Rapids, I know you're dealing with the storm right now, but the storm's back behind. You've got 4:02 p.m. Central. Iowa City, that's 4:30. Maquetta, that's about 5:22 Central. Again, getting kind of this northeast movement, about 48 miles per hour with these particular storms, according to the team. With some of these storms here, they did just extend the tornado warning east. And so, Curtis, we may kind of get back into that, and let's relook at the storm. That includes Freeport now in this tornado warning. This particular tornado warning, no, it is not a observed tornado warning. That doesn't mean you take this storm lightly. They maybe have just lost visual with that particular storm. It may end up becoming an observed tornado warning. Hard to speak to that without on the eyes of this. But I'm going to go back to this particular storm. Again, the team's been getting about 45 miles per hour with the speed of this. And I have been getting a lot of questions about away from some of these storms. So I will real quickly out just a quick and dirty analysis for some of the storms this evening to give us a general sense of what to expect through the evening. But certainly keeping my eyes on the ongoing tornado threat, which is ongoing with several tornado warnings in effect. So I will get to that in just a moment. As far as this storm in northern Illinois at this moment in time, if I especially look from the La Crosse radar, to me that would suggest near Stockton as we speak, where this area of rotation may be, it gets a little bit more messy, so to speak. If I look at the velocity from the Davenport radar, regardless, we're going to time out a general area of rotation. We're going to use 45 miles per hour, kind of just general, I would say, location right now where the rotation may be. And so if we time out about 48 miles per hour, and you can see the tornado warning is rather west to east. It's encompassing a fairly large part of that county that Freeport's in. Off the top of my head, I don't know that county off the top of my head. So let me just make sure the trajectory of the storm is fairly west to east. Interesting too, you can see some of these notches, right? It's not impossible. There may be multiple in here. So I could certainly see why the National Weather Service has a fairly large area that they're tornado warning this for. In fact, what I'm going to do real quick for us is the team in the Clarity application has something called a nowcast. And so this is something that's going out to clients as we speak, talking about this tornado. I know probably when they first made this, it was a confirmed tornado. They had since dropped that. Regardless, here's the general timing towards Rockford. Again, they've got about 45 miles per hour. This is probably going to be about the similar timing I was going to use. You can see these timings. Keep in mind these timings are in Eastern. So 427 towards Rockford, probably about a similar timing, maybe closer to 430 towards Beloit. Freeport, that'd be 351 Central. Lena, about 337 Central for this particular storm. Do see areas of rotation within this. So if you're in the path of this storm, whether you're in the tornado warning or maybe some of this timing's out ahead of that particular tornado warning, don't play around with it. Go ahead and seek shelter, or at least get preparations ready to seek shelter. If you're interested in this type of information that can get pushed to you in the Clarity application, top right-hand corner is our QR code to sign up for Clarity. We're running a 20% sale right now. You can use the code STORM20 to sign up for that. And someone on my team will put in the sign-up link in just a moment to discuss that. So there you go, Curtis. Curtis, I think that's safe. If it were me, just knowing what I know, looking at this, and the fact that it has dropped a tornado, I think that's probably the safe route. In my opinion, I realize it's a pain. People want to make places on time, and I know it's an inconvenience. But to be safe, that I don't think that's a bad call, Curtis. So 30 of us from Franklin camping in Champaign tonight. Well, it looks rowdy, and I said I was going to look into this real quickly for us, but looking at some of the latest high-res modeling, if we go to Champaign in particular, you could see what happens eventually with time. Let me put the times. We'll keep the times in Central. You could see what happens, though. It's a little bit more discreet right now, the storms along the front, but as we head into the evening, things really start to organize a little bit. And you can see towards Champaign near about 11 p.m. tonight. There's some timing variations an hour or so. At this point, I think it's significantly the wind damage threat will be the overwhelming hazard at this point for you in Champaign. What we need to look out for is any type of embedded areas of rotation, which I don't think is impossible. In addition to that, I think hail threat's probably pretty low in my opinion at this point. But some wind gusts near 60 miles per hour. Maybe locally it could be a little bit stronger if there's any Boeing segments that get towards Champaign. And a low end tornado threat I think is still in the cards at this point. And heavy rain. Heavy rain is going to be possible with this as well. You can see even towards Indianapolis as we get to 3 a.m. it kind of weakens upon approach. There's enough instability where I don't want to fully rule out a strong to severe storm getting into the morning hours. 3 to 5 a.m. towards Indianapolis would be kind of generally the call as it stands right now. Well, Curtis, I mean, gosh, to me that seals the deal, right? Having an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old. I have almost a 3-year-old myself, and she would be utterly terrified to drive through that. Maybe your kids are a little bit more tough than mine, but yeah, probably a good call for that point alone. Real quickly, I'm going to pivot back into Iowa for us. Storm east of Tama has a tornado warning, and then by Grinnell, Iowa, a tornado warning. So I do want to discuss some of those storms as well. Wife driving home from work down at UW Hospital, going east down I-94, storm timing available for approaching storm. UW Hospital. Comb over, let me know where that's at. Give me a little bit more information. I'll look into that for you. While Comb over looks into that, I do want to discuss some of these storms. I believe the team's been getting 48 miles per hour. Some of these storms further to the east. So let's talk about some of these. One thing you'll notice is these aren't observed tornado warnings, so they are radar indicated and indicated rotation with some of these storms. So first, I'm going to do my due diligence with some of these storms. I want to make sure that one, I agree with the National Weather Service as far as the ongoing tornado warnings are concerned. Most notably, I would say, is this storm by Grinnell. So I want to tackle this one first, where the rotation is a little bit more apparent, in my opinion, versus the storm further to the north, where the rotation does not look as apparent versus this one. And so I'm going to do my best to time out that cell just east of Grinnell. It does look like it's moving about east, northeast a little bit. So it does have a little bit of a northerly tendency in the area of rotation I'm noting is just east, northeast of Grinnell. So probably this little inflow notch right about, I'm circling with my mouse, is the area of, I would say, greatest concern for this particular cell at this moment in time. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make this a blue color using the Storm Tracker tool in Clarity. And let's go ahead and time this particular cell out. Again, what I'm timing out, not necessarily the cell, but where I see the area of rotation. And just given the environment, I think this has the potential to survive for at least, I'd say, 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and time this out for about 30 minutes. And let me redraw this out for us. kind of in a fashion like this. So let's go out about 30 minutes. And these are moving a little bit faster than 45, so I messed it up once again. Okay. Here's some timing of some towns. There's not a whole, looks like not a significant amount of towns in this timing, but you can see Bella Plain around 4 p.m. Central, so probably halfway in between, about 4:30. If you're in the path of this, it looks like especially north of Brooklyn, north of Victor, south of Chelsea, Iowa, if you're in some of these spots for a general timing. Again, the timings pop up when there's some town names. Unfortunately, there's just not a significant amount of towns in this area for this. But if you're in the path of this, don't play around with it. Go ahead and seek shelter based off what I'm seeing on the current radar. Okay, let's take a look. Family in Stockton, Illinois. Oh, University of Wisconsin Hospital. Okay, thank you. Come over. I appreciate that. Okay, let me scroll up a little bit. So she's going down I-94. We'll take a look at that storm again. Family in Stockton. So I may be able to answer kind of both your questions going back to that storm back off to the east. So let me zoom out real quick. This is a storm of concern. It does have some easterly tendencies. In fact, let's just loop the latest radar for us so we can see the latest track of this. It's always a concern with these rotating storms that they may initially be going east or northeast or east northeast, but as they pick up rotation, they do kind of shift a little bit further to the east with time. So that's always the concern of tracking precisely where these areas go. I am concerned. I'm not sure where Stockton's at exactly, but I see an area of tight rotation by Lena, Illinois. And so let me search real quick where Stockton, Illinois is. Okay, so it's in that area in particular. It's just southwest of Lena. So let me zoom in real quick to see if I can get this to populate west of Lena, Stockton. Okay, so Stockton's right here. If you could give me a little bit more information, where are they at? Okay, thank you for that, Kathy. Where are they at in Stockton? Are they east or west? Because I do see an area of rotation still. Actually, there may be separate areas of rotation in this. I do see at least a weak area of rotation by Stockton, kind of this little notch right here. I would do me a favor. I'm more concerned about the area of rotation that's by Lena in town. Okay. If I were you, have them go ahead and seek shelter for the next 5 to 10 minutes. I think that would be the safe move, Kathy, because I do see some rotation, but a little bit more of an area of significant rotation I'm seeing just west of Lena. If you're in Lena, do me a favor and seek shelter immediately. The area of rotation looks very strong just west of Lena. I would not be shocked if, one, this is rain wrapped, so you may not be able to see this particular storm coming, but the area of rotation does look very strong. Just west of Lena, seek shelter immediately. I am definitely concerned with what I'm looking at from a rotation perspective. I'm going to do my best to track out this area of rotation. It's kind of moving almost, it looks like it's moving almost due east. It may kind of swing up to the north and to the east a little bit. So there is going to be a little bit of wiggle room to this. But the team's getting about 45 miles per hour with these storms. So I'm going to bring out a draw tool with this. Yes, prayers, Kathy, to your family. I hope it's just an area rotation with no tornado with it. But I don't have eyes on the ground. I think it's a brief moment of them seeking shelter, and then I think they'll be good to go. But Lena, I'm most concerned about. I'm going to bring out my drawing tool. 40. We'll switch this to 45 miles per hour. And we'll extend this out. We'll try to go out to about an hour. Something like this. We'll extend it just a little bit. Okay, Lena, again, you need to be in shelter right now if you're in Lena, in my opinion, just what I see on velocity. Cedarville, you can see this is about 358 Central, Rock Grove, that's 409. Dakota, that's 406 Central. Further east, 420 towards Durand. Sherland, that's about 429. Okay, further to the east. We'll see where exactly this area rotation tracks. Especially on the northern edge of this. Rockton, 437. Beloit, that would be 441. McChesney Park, again, you may be too far south, just worth watching. 437 at this point for this particular rotation. And you can see they just actually made this a confirmed tornado warning. I don't know if that was there as I was drawing this out or not, but it currently is a confirmed tornado warning on that particular cell. I do want to check out this storm further to the south too, because I'm seeing west of Freeport, interesting little inflow notch that's forming. So it'll be worth keeping an eye up. That can pick up another area of rotation. Kathy, if you're still watching by Stockton, that secondary of rotation back off to the west just does not look as impressive as even the previous scan. And to me, it's by Lena. That's where I'm most concerned. Becoming increasingly optimistic for some of your family out there. I'm going to zoom out a little bit and see what we have going on at this moment in time. Just a really nasty storm in northern Illinois. We'll continue to monitor that as it begins to evolve. We do have a confirmed tornado warning west of Black River Falls as well. I don't know if anyone's watching from some of those spots, but let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to time those out. But I want to shift back gears. Again, this just looking at it on radar east of Grinnell, it has that look on radar of a rotating storm. You can see this hooking nature. This is what we call a hook echo. It's literally, you can see visually the spin of the storm. And so that is a concern. I'm going to check out the velocities on this. And when I say velocity, I'm just checking out to see if there's any rotation in the storm. So bear with me just a moment. I do at least see some. I would not be shocked if eventually this can get extended out a little bit. So again, Belle Plaine, if I could say that correctly, 4 p.m. Central. I'll be watching that closely. We'll pivot back to that in just a moment. Just keep in mind, I'm still concerned about a potential tornado in this, although it is only radar indicated rotation at this moment in time. Shifting back south, because I haven't given, I don't think, enough love for some of you folks into Missouri at this moment in time, and even eastern Kansas. So I do want to check out some of these storms, even if they don't have the official tornado warning tag on it. I at least want to check out to see if there is any rotation in some of these storms. So I'm assessing that kind of as we speak. There may be some rotation west of Independence with this storm. Let me confirm with the team. reaching out to the team, seeing what they're getting for the latest speeds here of some of these storms. Also, a little concern south of Topeka. Again, when we're looking at this on the radar, and you see these little notches in the radar, it's a clear sign of a supercell form. And typically these tornadoes like to come from some of these supercells. But I am going to pivot to near Chilicothe, Missouri at this moment in time. And I do want to discuss this particular storm as it does have an ongoing tornado warning in effect. It does look like it's clearly moving north and east at this moment in time. Team's getting about 46 miles per hour into Kansas. See what they come up with in terms of Missouri. The tornado warning itself, see if we can bring up some timing information of this. 45 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and use 46. We're just talking about a mile per hour difference. Again, doing my best to kind of time out the rotation. With that being said, it goes without saying, if you're in Chilicothe, Missouri, go ahead and seek shelter. Area of rotation is very close nearby. Something like this. We go out about an hour or so. Now we've got some timing for this particular storm as it does shift off to the north and to the east. Team's getting about 40 miles per hour. So let's get this trimmed down just a little bit. You can see kind of on the fly, I can change that in our storm track tool. Out ahead of this, again, if you're in Chillicothe, do me a favor, go ahead and seek shelter if you're not doing so already. Chula about 406 Central, Browning 432 Central, believe Milan 446, Purdon 425 Central. Okay. Real quickly before we get into some of these Kansas storms, and if you're in Kansas, let me know. If you're in Kansas, let me know, and I'll pivot to that even quicker. But we do have a couple new tornado warnings that have popped up as of recent. We have a new tornado warning towards Viroqua. If you're in Wisconsin, I'm butchering the town names. I'm so sorry. West Union into Iowa, we have a tornado warning. That's a new one since we've last looked at eastern Iowa. And we have yet another one. This is west of Marion, Iowa, closer towards Garrison, Vinton, Urbana, Iowa. We're not talking about Urbana, Illinois. That's Urbana, Iowa in this particular instance. Let me double check the team on speed of these. Guys, if you want access to our Clarity application, team sending out nowcasts, answering client questions outside of me just doing this live, go to that QR code in the top right-hand corner. Someone on my team will put the sign-up link in the comments. But we've got a 20% discount right now. Use Storm 20 to get that discount code. And again, if you know someone in this area, or if you're finding value in this particular live stream, like, share, comment, all of it greatly helps us out. Okay, so the team's got a little bit slower versus the last update. Doesn't look like as fast. They're getting about 41 miles per hour now. Okay. So I'm going to clear all these timings, and let's get back into timing some of these out. So let's start with this one, and we're going to time this out over the next hour or so. You can see this clear notch, a little bit of rotation showing up just from looking at the radar, there's a clear sign that there could be a particular tornado with this cell. So I'm going to use 41 miles per hour on this cell. And let's time this out. Let's get this out extended a little bit, kind of moving east-northeast, just to give some folks a general timing. Again, I'm doing my best to time out the area of rotation, not necessarily the storm itself. Okay. Marengo, that's 421 central. Walford, that's 439 central. Norway, 433. Fairfax, 443. We'll see how far north and east this can work towards, say, like a Cedar Rapids, but at least be on guard closer towards about 450 central. And let's take a look at the storm further to the north as well. There is a bunch, you know. We've got some clients in Wisconsin. One of them in particular gives me a hard time because I always struggle with some of the names. Okay. Let me take a look and try to identify as best as I can where the area of rotation is with this particular tornado warning storm without even looking at where the rotation is. My gut would say just south of Vinton, Iowa. But certainly I need to look in a little bit more detail. Then we'll work our way north and east with some of these storms as well. Let's see. Keystone, Van Horn. Yeah, it's got to be somewhere in this group. The rotation, I'd like to see it show up a little bit more clearly. In fact, I think the rotation on the cell to the south is a little bit more of a clear signal to me. But let's go ahead and time this out anyway. Just given the environment these are in, I'm not going to play the game of there may or may not be a tornado with these particular cells. But it's somewhere in this general vicinity. Kind of, I was about correct in my assessment of that. So this may be a little bit broad brushed. Regardless, let's time out this rotation. We're going to use 41 miles per hour as the timing of this. So we're going to draw a new storm track. Let's make this blue as well. Blue just pops, in my opinion. And let's extend this out about an hour for folks out ahead of this storm. Okay, here's some timings with this. Again, in Eastern time, subtract an hour to get Central time. Shellsburg, that's 4:09. Center Point, that's 4:15. Central City, that's 4:36. Prairiesburg, that's 4:44 Central. Anamosa, that's 4:55. Okay, with these groupings of tornado warned storms ongoing. Okay, let's work our way back northeast. 2 tornado warned storms. We've got one just south of Decorah, West Union, Pottsville for a tornado warned storm, and again towards Viroqua. That's getting into Wisconsin at this moment in time, and some additional tornado warned storms south of Eau Claire in Wisconsin as well. And I do want to pivot back to the storm into northern Illinois as well for some of you folks, as that does still have the tornado reported tag, in addition to 1.75 inch hail. Okay, so let's talk about some of these storms further into northeastern Iowa, since we haven't discussed them in a whole lot of detail for some of you folks who may be watching. So as always, I do want to check out to make sure I'm seeing what the National Weather Service is seeing. A little bit clearer picture for rotation with this storm on this particular cell, in my opinion, southwest of Chaseburg. See if that shows up to this little notch. Seems to be where the area rotation is, east of Genoa. Further to the south by West Union, it's a little bit less clear, but the rotation is likely into this area, kind of West Union. If you're in West Union, if you haven't already seek shelter, do so right now. The area rotation looks like it's on you, especially the north side of West Union in particular. My team's getting about 46 miles per hour, PDS tornado with that cell. So let me pivot to that because that is concerning. It's not too often the National Weather Service does issue a PDS tornado warning. 46 miles per hour. I do want to get back to some of those cells. So my apologies for some of you to northeastern Iowa. Again, if you're in the chat watching this, again, let me know, and I'll try to pivot to that sooner than later. But looking at the Davenport radar, I do see some concerning signals for an area of rotation, especially on the north section of the storm. My concern with this particular cell, looking at it on radar, this area west of Orangeville, where I see some clear, sharp rotation. There may be a secondary area on the south side of this as well for some rotation. But latest scans have the rotation is starting to scoot up a little bit further to the north and to the east based off the latest scans. But I'm concerned it's maybe a rain-wrapped tornado. You may not be able to see this coming. And so you may have rain, you may have storms, and then all of a sudden there's a tornado. Okay, and that makes the situation a little bit more dangerous. The team's getting about 46 miles per hour on this particular cell. Again, the rotation to me looks to be just west of Orangeville. If you're in Orangeville or Anesso, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Seek shelter right now. Don't even play around with it. Seek shelter right now. I'm going to make this a little bit more broad brushed to take into account, and I'll use the drawing tool here in just a moment to highlight a few points, areas I'm especially concerned about. Let's extend this out an hour. Okay. So here's some general time frames with this storm. And the reason I have this meandering up a little bit further to the north is because this area of rotation I noted by Orangeville does look like it's wanting to swing up a little bit further to the north. And so I'm accounting for that. Avon, Wisconsin, that's 426 Central. Rock Grove, that's 412 Central. A very dangerous storm, it looks like, just looking at the velocity on this. I'm certainly of all the storms, and I know there's multiple tornado warned storms across the area as far as what's showing up on rotation. This is the storm to me that is as of most concern. And if I bring out my drawing tool, let's make this purple, and then we'll make the drawing tool blue. How about that? Watching this area closely, and I may need to extend that up a little bit more, but if you're in that area, just what I'm looking at on velocity, very concerning look for rotation. Do not play around with this storm. If you are in the tornado warning, go ahead and seek shelter. There may be some secondary areas of rotation south of this. You can see a little inflow notch embedded right into this spot I have highlighted. And if you're towards Freeport, unfortunately, as well, we've got another inflow notch on the south side of this as well. And so this may be one of those instances where there may be multiple areas of rotation embedded within this particular storm. But don't play around with it. These times are in Eastern. Subtract an hour if you're in Central. So whether you're in Freeport, Dakota, Rock Grove, go ahead and do me a favor and seek shelter before the storm passes, especially if you're in this blue circle zone, just based off what I'm seeing on velocity. Indianapolis Speed Drone, thanks for joining. Again, obviously, I'm chatting about storms well off to the north and to the west at this moment in time. Continue to watch this storm closely. I suppose the good news for some of you folks north of this storm, these particular storms don't look what I would call excessively rowdy, but the storms back off to the west are producing some tornado warnings. My team's telling me northeastern Iowa tornado warning storm moving about 42 miles per hour. And so without further ado, want to get into this for some of you folks who may be watching into northeastern Iowa. Again, the area of rotation seemingly seems to be east of West Union. So again, I want to track back to that storm. Yeah, I do see some rotation in this storm east of West Union. You can see where the inflow notch is. This is the likely spot of where any tornado may or may not be. Again, it's radar indicated tornado warning. Let me draw this out. Fashion like this. Give us a sense for some of you folks in the path of this storm. If you're in Claremont, seek shelter immediately. I think especially towards Luana, Monrona, that's 423 Central, that's 426 Central respectively. Harper's Ferry, that's 446 Central. Lennoxville, that's 4:54 p.m. Central. Eastman, that's 4:53. Steuben, 5:03 Central. Seneca, 5 p.m. Central. Okay. If you're in this particular tornado warning, western Wisconsin, I do see some areas of rotation with some of these cells. I see two areas of rotation, one between Strum and Hale, and another between Whitehall and Blair. Let's see if any of those towns kind of show up in this. But I do see two areas of rotation, so seek shelter if you're in those areas. Let me zoom out real quick, see what's going on elsewhere. I mentioned, and we do have a tornado warning into eastern Kansas. This includes Linden, Lebo, Melbourne, into eastern Kansas. So let's talk about this for some of you folks into eastern Kansas real quick. I don't know if anyone's watching from some of those areas. If so, let me know. We'd be happy to discuss and chat with you in particular. But I do see certainly an area of rotation northeast of hopefully I'm saying that right, Lebo, perhaps, between that and Olivet, just west of Melbourne. Okay, so kind of this particular area east of Arvonia. Looks like this general area especially. So the northern half of this particular tornado warning seems to be at greatest risk for this area of rotation. It does look like it is taking a beeline pretty far east. So let me draw this out for us and see what the team's getting for timing. .46 miles per hour the team's getting. Have this go out about 60 minutes as it is moving to the east pretty quickly. Melbourne, that's about 420. Williamsburg, it may end up going just to your north, given how far south you are. But if you're north of Williamsburg, about 430. Quinamo, that's about 428, again near 430. Pomona, that's about 434. Ottawa, that's about 447. Peoria, Kansas, that's 455. Again, I'm talking about this particular tornado warning storm into eastern Kansas. Roxy, do you know what size it might be? In particular to what? I don't know what you're referring to. Let me know, Roxy. I'll try to address your question. Let's get back to this storm in northern Illinois. I want to talk about this one again in a little bit more detail, as it seems to be the nastiest storm of the lot. We do have another tornado warning west of Platteville in western Wisconsin as well. We'll discuss that in just a moment. But let's get into the latest. Anytime you see it look like this on radar, it is a bit concerning, at least initially. Let's take a look at this particular storm. They also have, again, I mentioned that area of rotation on the north side of this meandering a little bit further to the north. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning into southern Wisconsin, just south of Monroe, Wisconsin. But anyway, I do want to take a look for myself, see what the rotation looks like. Man, it's a concerning look. Surprisingly, this little notch I see northeast of Freeport, the from a rotation standpoint, doesn't look overly impressive. What continues to catch my eye is on the north edge. It's really the area of rotation seems to be along the kind of on right here, really, where I'm circling with my mouse, right along the Illinois-Wisconsin border. And just looking at the last few scans of where the rotation's tracking, it does look like it's kind of shifting northeast. So I don't mind the National Weather Service having their tornado warning extended up a little bit further to the north and to the east. If you're into this area, kind of between Cedarville and Freeport, kind of towards Davis, Durand in Illinois, I wouldn't let your guard down completely. Tough to say if there is some rotation within that. It just seems a little bit more clear cut of rotation occurring along the Illinois-Wisconsin border with this cell. Let me see real quick if the team has any timing. And we will get to timing this. Regardless, this is the area that's I'm especially concerned with in the short term. So if you're in the area I'm circling with my mouse, please seek shelter. Again, you can see the National Weather Service has extended their tornado warning a little bit further to the east. In addition, we got 1.5-inch hail in that particular tornado warning. This does look like a pretty hefty hail core. And again, my concern is this storm may be a little bit hail wrapped. Hard to say, Roxy, what EF it would be. Very difficult to say, in my opinion. If somebody's watching and you're watching maybe another stream and somebody's got kind of eyes on it, I would appreciate that information. Right now, it's hard to say, Roxy, how big it may be. Unfortunately, the larger tornadoes are usually higher end on the EF scale. What I may do, in this particular instance, I may have two separate timers on this. Again, I've mentioned it a couple times. The rotation on the southern edge of this is not as impressive as that northern edge rotation I've been talking about. That's along the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Team's telling me about 42 miles per hour of this cell. And so kind of I would say a general area like this for this particular instance. And let's go ahead and extend this towards Janesville for some of you folks. Just the latest trajectory of where this particular area of rotation is. That'd be about 5 p.m. Central for Janesville. Avon, Wisconsin, that would be about 4:35 Central. Spring Valley, you may be a little too far north. Still keep your eyes on it very closely, about 4:39 Central with that particular area of rotation. According to Roxy, and thanks for the report, it's always good to have the reports. The storm and Echo, they said, is quite big, so it could be a very strong tornado, and that's a concern. Shelby, no, nope. I think eventually the storm's moving to Indiana, but it'd be tomorrow morning, and they're not going to be anything like what these folks are dealing with back further to the west. I don't want to let my guard down completely. To me, the rotation aspect is a little bit less clear cut south, but I do. Let's go ahead and at least time this out on the southern edge for some of you folks, because there is a tornado warning just north of Rockford, and there may be some embedded areas of rotation. These little notches on the south side at least just have me slightly concerned. And again, the National Weather Service does have a tornado warning for some of you folks. So let's take a look at this. And again, I know Rockford, you're going to be in this. Let's make this orange, contrast a little bit more of the blue further to the north. And I'm going to bring out this draw tool for us. Let's use yellow. That may not be a good choice. Red, perhaps. NWS may be a little bit too far south, but again, especially north of this red line. Here's some timings, right? Roscoe 450, Sherlin 436, Duran 426, Beloit 449 Central. Okay. Continue to watch this storm very closely, and the environment that's out ahead of that is concerning. Zooming out again, just to see kind of the lay of the land real quick for us. Obviously, we've got several severe warnings. I mean, all up and down this line, whether you're into southeastern Kansas, northern Missouri, eastern Iowa, obviously Wisconsin, with some severe warnings ongoing. We have a couple tornado warning storms, extreme northern Wisconsin, but let's discuss this one towards Black River Falls. Teams getting about, I believe, 46 miles per hour with this particular cell. It is a observed tornado warning on this particular cell. So if somebody has confirmed that there is a tornado in this particular spot, I do want to, again, double check, do my due diligence on this cell and make sure I agree that there is rotation, but obviously an observed tornado. There's only so much. Based off what I'm seeing rotation-wise, northeast of Blair and west of Taylor, certainly looks like an area of tight rotation. Kind of into this particular area. This is a scan northeast of Blair, probably in about here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to time out this particular area. This is the area I'm most concerned about on this cell. And let's get this area drawn up first. I keep doing that. 46 miles per hour. Let me loop this for us real quick, and I can get a good gauge of where this may be tracking for us. Yeah, kind of in a fashion like this northeasterly shift, so to speak. I may just extend this a little bit further to the east because these rotating storms do like to veer a little bit to the right. And let's make this blue. We got some timings with this storm. It is an observed tornado warning. The blue timing zones area I'm at greatest concern for the rotation. Taylor, you need to be seeking shelter right now. Hickston, I would do the same. That's at 427 Central. Maryland, that's 439 Central. Hatfield, 447. Nellisville, that's 457. Lynn, that's at 510 Central for this particular storm. Again, it is a confirmed tornado, a tornado reported, observed on this particular warning. So when we're looking at our clarity warnings, right, and you see the purple color show up, this purple pink color, that is indicative of a tornado has been observed with that. Okay. And so that doesn't mean you take any tornado warning lightly, but especially you don't want to take ones where somebody has confirmed that tornado is on the ground. Just for some of you folks, for a little bit of context as well, we're talking about storms off to the west for anyone who may be watching into central Indiana. Okay. We're talking about these storms back off to the west. We do have a few tornado warnings further north as well. Osseo, Wisconsin. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And let's take a look at this particular cell. Certainly see the rotation there south of Osseo. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, my apologies. Hopefully you can put two and two together of the area I'm talking about. Let's draw this out. We're going to use about 46 miles per hour again for the track of this. Again, I see some clear rotation in this storm. It does have a tornado warning in it. We'll extend this out about an hour. Fairchild about 437 Central, Greenwood, Wisconsin, that's 504 Central, Loyal 509. Let me know if you're watching and you're in this area, or if you know someone who's watching, share the stream with them. Would love to be able to help them out, keep them safe, and let them know on the latest. Guys, again, for clarity, QR codes in the top right-hand corner, you can scan that. We do have a discount, 20% off. Use code STORM20. You can get our Clarity application. And again, it just includes much more than just what our live streams have. We've been talking about this really for days, between forecast videos, etc. Does look like the tornado warning was dropped in eastern Kansas. I do want to retake a look at that particular storm. Team is monitoring another area rotation. I'll have to see where they're looking at in particular. It's been a while since we've discussed some of these storms into northeastern Iowa. I do want to get back into those storms, but let's relook. We're going to first start with northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin for this storm that has just been rather nasty. I do want to pivot back to Kansas and assess some of the rotation in some of these storms that may or may not be occurring. You can see, however, if you are into eastern Kansas at this moment in time, we're starting to get some wind gust warnings, in particular this one east of Emporia, of 70-mile-per-hour winds. And so, these storms can really pack a punch in some of these spots. But let's take a look at some of these storms into northern Illinois, into southern Wisconsin. In particular, I'm this one we've been talking about at length, really, just because of how dangerous it's been. I'm going to clear some of the tracks so we can get into some new timing. But let's take a look. Again, what I'm doing kind of off the screen, so to speak, is I'm assessing the rotation myself. Maybe a little bit of good news, so to speak. Rotation does not look as impressive on the north side of this cell. There's still a little bit of some. And so if you're in this northern tornado warning, um, just southeast of Monroe, Broadhead in particular, there is at least still a little bit of rotation embedded within that particular cell. And then just watching real closely east of Freeport, we've got this little inflow notch here, and it just has me a little concerned that we may have a secondary area of rotation. Some nasty hail in this storm as well. Team's been getting about 42 miles per hour. Noblesville Scanner, thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Always good to see you. Yeah, you've been in the. If you just got back driving from there, you've been in the weather hotspot. It seems the last couple of days. No doubt about it. Let's go ahead and time this out. The storm. I'm probably going to do this once again in two separate areas. Again, the northern area of rotation I have been talking about for some time does not look as impressive. Becoming a little bit more concerned with this notch now that's just east of Freeport. I've got it moving east northeast, and so I still have the same general thinking of this moving more or less northeast with time, or east northeast with time. Something to this effect would be my best gauge. In particular, these areas. Pecatonaka, man, I probably butchered that one. 437. Duran, that's 442. I think especially south of Duran, just where this is tracking. Harrison, 451. Rockton, 459. Roscoe, that's 502 Central. South Beloit and Beloit around 502 Central. Okay. I think it's worth watching the southern edge of this particular storm. Now let's shift gears a little bit back up to the north, and I use 46 miles per hour. Let's quickly get a little bit more accurate timing on this. It's going to change the times up just a little bit. 42 miles per hour, what my team's telling me. 438, Pecatonaka, Duran, 444, Rockton. Okay, so we've got that area of rotation discussed. And if you're watching from these spots, let me know. I'd be more than happy to discuss with you. Taking a look on the northern edge. I'm just trying to assess where the rotation may be. Again, like I said, it doesn't look as impressive, but still see some rotation south of Monroe. That still looks present. Just, combine that with the fact that I still see some, or the history of the storm. Let's talk about it. Be more or less in this little spot right here by Monroe. I'm only going to extend this out about 30 minutes because it looks less impressive than what it did, thankfully. But just for some of you folks. It's been moving like this, really. Kind of northeast. A bit of an oddball one, I'll admit. Spring Valley, 448 Central, Footville, 454. Okay. Shifting back into eastern Iowa for some of you folks. Again, we've got multiple tornado warnings really just north of Cedar Rapids. I'm going to see what the team's been getting for these northern Iowa storms. I've got the team; they're continuously updating me on timing of things because you guys don't want to go through me trying to time this out on radar. Let me confirm with them real quick. Me first while they're getting the timing. Want to assess. Yeah, between Alburnett and Central City, the team's getting about 44 miles per hour. Alburnett and Central City, just east of Alburnett, probably associated with this little notch. We've got an area of rotation right into this little area. There may be some additional rotation by Prairiesburg. It's not as clear cut in my opinion. Okay. And then a secondary area. Yeah, east of Alburnett. This looks like it's certainly something. And then at this point, it may be a bit messy, but just north of Cedar Rapids, may have some rotation embedded here, just kind of west of Hiawatha, Iowa. .44 miles per hour is the speed the team's getting. We use blue. I do want to discuss this one first and foremost because the rotation looks like it's the most robust on this particular cell. So if I time this out, let me try that again. This area will go out an hour on this. Give some folks a timing. Certainly you can see the little inflow notch with this particular cell. Certainly see the rotation showing up on some of the velocity products. Unfortunately, not tons of towns that bring up the timing, but if you want to extend some of these towns south to give a sense of timing, you can see. In fact, let me bring out the draw tool. Maybe this will help us out just a little bit. We'll use red. Right? Give us a sense. So 437 Central, Prairiesburg, about 444, and then you get to Monticello right around 5 p.m. Central. Right. Give us a sense of timing with this. Yeah, comb over. That's a great question. There is a chat feature. It's in the step above than what you have. The base feature, you don't have that ability, but in the above, there is. And so you can message our staff of meteorologists. I'm just one guy, right? I've got on the other side of this wall a team of 3 people, and then I've got another guy. He's helping out remotely. So we've got 4 meteorologists actively working on insights and nowcast and chatting with folks as we speak. And we've got people around the clock, 24/7, 365. Come over and let me know if you'd be interested in that. Okay. Next, I know we talked about this area of rotation as well, kind of east of Alburnett. I'm going to zoom out real quick, see what else we have going on. I do want to get into this cell just north of Cedar Rapids and time this out as well. Again, going to double check some of the velocity products. This northern cell, I went over some of the timing. If you're out ahead of that, kind of between Alburnett and Monticello, seek shelter. I mean, the rotation on it does look kind of nasty, if I have to be honest. It looks like there may be a tornado there. I can't confirm it. It's not an observed tornado warning at this time, but the rotation does have me a little bit concerned. Again, a little bit not clear north of Cedar Rapids at this moment in time. There's at least some weak rotation showing up with this particular cell north of Cedar Rapids as well. From where I'm looking at from a rotation standpoint, it would be kind of right south of Hiawatha, be about here, so to speak. So to get a general sense of this particular cell, let's go ahead and time this out. I think the risk versus what I'm showing is it may be delayed by about 15 minutes, but do best I can to help give some folks some actionable timing. This particular cell is meandering off to the right pretty hard. And so I don't mind the National Weather Service, their particular warning with this one. Robbins, Hiawatha, you probably should already be in shelter. Springville, that's about 4:52. So if you're out ahead of that, let me know with that particular cell. So far in Kansas, gosh, if you're by Ottawa, Kansas, keep in mind, wow, impressive. In this particular instance, we've got straight line winds of 80 miles per hour. That's what this particular severe thunderstorm warning is. Note, it's a destructive thunderstorm warning. 80 mile per hour straight line winds is nothing to joke around with. It certainly can, and if the 80 mile per hour winds do verify, it is going to do damage, unfortunately. So if you're towards Ottawa right now, approaching the Missouri line, in fact, they just issued a destructive severe thunderstorm warning east, again with that 80 mile per hour tag with this particular storm. So let me time this out. I'm going to check in with the team. And we'll time this out, this particular storm, because that is, I know it's not tornado warned, but that is absolutely nasty. 80 mile per hour winds. Certainly see some strong winds in it, looking at the velocities in this. May just time this out myself. 520, 14. Getting about 60 miles per hour on this particular cell. Cell, if you want to call it, it's more of a blob. Let's have this go out 2 hours. 60 miles per hour. Okay. Area of greatest concern with this particular cell. We'll see how long it can survive to this particular magnitude. Um, 80-mile-per-hour winds on this is the severe thunderstorm warning. A couple of times, again, keep in mind these times are in Eastern. Gardner, that's 4:54. Belton, that's 5:15. Harrisonville, that's 5:28. Green Valley, that's 5:34. Odessa, that's getting into Missouri, mind you, 5:47. Central Warrensburg, that's 6:02 Central. Carol, daughter's in Cedar Rapids, and I'm talking to her on the phone. Is there a tornado on the ground around her? Sirens are not going off. If she's in Cedar Rapids, I don't know where at in Cedar Rapids, Carol. You can see the tornado warning is actually just to the north. Right now, I don't have any confirmation of a tornado on the ground. But if she's in downtown Cedar Rapids, you can see this is the area of concern, closer to Hiawatha. So she's probably good unless she's on the north side of town. You can let me know of that, Carol. I'd be happy to help you out. Let's pivot back. It's been a second since we've talked about the storm in northern Illinois. The hail core on this, that in itself makes it look absolutely nasty. So let's take a look. Keep in mind, I'm going to zoom out for us a little bit. We do have another tornado warning northwest of Watertown, Wisconsin. I can't tell you guys how many times I've said Watertown, Wisconsin in the last couple of days. Seems like every time there's severe weather in Wisconsin, they've had at least a tornado warning nearby. But we're going to take a look at this particular cell. Still seeing some rotation that's showing up in this. Hard to say exactly where this rotation may be. Radar is getting a little bit messy. But in particular, to me, this general area, probably just looking on the radar, probably something here. The hail core on this looks very nasty. In fact, not only do we have a tornado warning for this particular storm, it's 2.75 inch hail. And just looking on the radar, the hail does look significant. So if you are into far northern Iowa, or Illinois, that is, along the border between Illinois and Wisconsin, this is going to be a heck of a hailstorm at the very least. Let me the team. Real quick, I'm confirming the speed, 42 miles per hour they're getting. What I'm going to do, I'm going to time out this general area as a whole, where there's still some rotation. And again, it may even be wrapped a little bit in rain, and in this particular case, hail. Again, 2.75 inch hail is going along with this warning. So it's certainly nothing to play around with. This go out an hour. Okay. Again, the timing's been about the same than when we last discussed this particular storm. Again, outside of a tornado, which I don't see an observed tornado with this particular storm, 2.75-inch hail. So if this wasn't a tornado warning storm, it would be a destructive thunderstorm. It would show up as an orange severe thunderstorm warning. But again, it is a tornado warning storm. Do at least see some rotation within the cell. If you're in the tornado warning, certainly seek shelter, especially this area. Let's make this blue so it pops a little bit versus the background tornado warning. This would be the area I'm most concerned about for this particular area of rotation. You're north of this blue area, and especially on the northern half of this blue area, this blue timing area I made. Again, seek, put your car in the garage if you have it, if you have the ability to. Hail's no joke on this storm. We've got a couple of tornado warnings into southeastern Iowa. I know we haven't talked about these ones in a significant amount of detail. So I do let's spend a little bit of time into southeastern Iowa. We have several ongoing at this moment in time. We've got towards Washington, Iowa. We've got one. We've got two. And then it looks like 3 and 4. That includes areas like Washington, near Ottumwa, Libertyville, Fairfield, Iowa, in these tornado warnings. So let's discuss this. Let's chat about this grouping of tornado warnings. A bit odd, I will admit, just the way these are oriented. With 4 of them in the same spot. So I'm going to look to see where I see any rotation in these. Certainly, let's start with this northern one first. I do see some rotation. There could be multiple areas of rotation. If I have to be honest, near Ollie. Maybe at this point it's just east towards Richland. If you're in Richland right now, Ollie. If you haven't already, be in shelter or go to shelter immediately. There is a little bit of rotation there, even towards, I'd say, Packwood. So kind of all up and down this area, there could be 1 or 2 areas of rotation, maybe even 3 you could make an argument for. I'm going to time this out. I think the team was getting 44. We can change this in a moment, but I do want to get some timing out for us if we are in this area. So let's not go that far south. And we're extending this out an hour. We'll see how long the rotation can last. The reason I say that is it is a messy area, right? It's not this cell that's all by itself. Typically, when we get these blobs and there's rotation embedded, the rotation typically doesn't last particularly too long. And so that would be the case here. I'm going to, teams telling me 42 miles per hour, whether it's 42 or 44, just to give you a general sense of timing. Again, you can see Brighton, that's 501 Central. Washington, that's 513 Central. Ainsworth, 522. Crawfordsville, same. Cotter, 529. Columbus Junction, 536 Central. Columbus City, 535. Wayland, 512. Olds, 520. Winfield, 527. Mike, probably not at that point. Gut says no, if I have to be honest. These storms, again, keep in mind, we're looking way west, right, versus Fort Wayne. By the time these storms get here, they'll actually be on a weakening trend. So in my opinion, I think it's primarily winds at that point. And the risk is low. It may just weaken enough where it's not even severe by the time it gets into Indiana. Good question. Okay, So we've got this northern tornado warning storm kind of timed out, at least the area where I see the rotation in that particular cell. Very welcome, Mike. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and want to look at any rotation that may be occurring further to the south. To me, by Dowds, between Dowds and Eldon, so southeast of Eldon, this would be, in my opinion, the general area where this particular rotation is located, which is a little bit of a concern, in my opinion. I'm checking some other radars. We're getting pretty far away from some radars. It's a little bit of a concern when you see a rotation deep in a storm like that, because then you have the concern it may be rain wrapped, which obviously makes the storm a little bit more dangerous because you can't really necessarily see it coming. Somewhere in this general vicinity would be my best venture for that. Real quick, after I get done with this, I do want to pivot. This may be a little broad, I will admit. Give me just a moment, Michael. Kind of moving northeast, I'd say, in a fashion like this. So again, I'll admit this may end up being a little bit broad as far as an area is concerned. But to give some folks a general sense of the timing with this cell. Birmingham near 504. In about 30 minutes, 519 towards this area here. Okay. Want to show a nowcast that the team put out. Or that's not a nowcast. Never mind. My apologies. That's an old nowcast. You're in Grays Lake, Illinois, and just got an alert for a tornado mesoscale discussion. I'm not sure where Grays Lake is. You may have been on here the other day asking about this. That is, okay, northern east of Rockford. Okay, so you're in fact, we can bring this up in the Clarity application, that mesoscale discussion. So you're already in a tornado watch. So sometimes they'll issue these when they're just kind of talking about ongoing conditions. So if I go to alerts and I turn on discussion, it's a little tough to see, but it's this slightly off color in southeastern Wisconsin and far northern Illinois. And I haven't read it yet, so I'd be curious what they're seeing. I'll read this out loud. Sometimes these mesoscale discussions can be a little dense, okay? Especially if you're not a meteorologist. A lot of this may just go way over your head. A pair of leading supercells continue to precede a broken line of storms along the Illinois-Wisconsin border. Regional radar imagery continue to indicate that these cells are rather intense, with a 3-body scatter spike, a bound a weak echo region, and a recent 3-inch hail report noted in the southern storm. So essentially they're saying that the radar is confirming and the observation reports are confirming it is producing some very large hail of 3 inches. Northwestern Indiana, mostly a wind gust threat. Tornado threats extraordinarily low late overnight and early morning hours of tomorrow. Will be nothing like what we're seeing out to the west currently. An improving downstream convective environment is noted in recent observations. 0 to 1 storm relative velocity values remain between 200 and 250, which is good. That's just essentially saying the ingredients for tornadoes are there. Significant tornado parameter values have increased 2 to 3 per recent meso-analysis, so strong tornadoes will be possible. Additionally, the southern storm will also likely propagate into a subtle surface theta E gradient draped across northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin. So essentially a boundary in place. Given these trends and a presence of a well-established updraft mesocyclone with the southern cell, so a persistent area of rotation, which we've been talking about the cell for some time, the potential for very large hail, likely in excess of 2 inches, that's being noted, and strong tornadoes will likely persist for the next couple of hours downstream into southeast Wisconsin, far northern Illinois. Okay. So this has been an area we've been concerned with for some time. Let me see what the folks are getting for the speed of this cell in northern Illinois. Looks like they're getting about 40 miles per hour, if I'm looking at that right. So let me turn off that mesoscale discussion, and we can kind of get into something as far as timing is concerned. I'm going to delete some of these tracks and clear all these tracks I have. And here's the storm of interest. Let me look at this. We need to look at how this is playing out, so to speak. And you can see, if you've been watching the stream for a while now, this kind of moving northeast, right? And then it's getting some rotation. It's starting to veer off to the right a little bit. So you're not certainly out of the woods with this particular storm, I would say, completely. So let me stop this on the latest run of the radar scan, and I want to take a look at what the rotation looks like on this storm. And yeah, I still see some rotation northwest of Rockford, in particular with this cell. Kind of by Harrison. Let me zoom in a little bit for us. South of Sherland. Kind of somewhere in here. And you can see the little inflow notch. So this would be kind of a natural spot for this area rotation to be. Teams getting about 40 miles per hour of this. So, to give folks out ahead of this a general sense of timing, we'll do something a little bit broad. Just based off the track, do want to extend this east a little bit. If this just wants to be a persistent area rotation, it may track a little bit further to the east versus go northeast. So I want to signify that a little bit in this. Okay. So I'm not sure. I know Grayslake's somewhere in northern Illinois. It looks like it'd be around 620 central, give or take. I don't know exactly where Grayslake is. I know it's somewhere north of Chicago. But you can see some of these times. Keep in mind, this is in Eastern time. So you're going to subtract an hour to get into central. Wadsworth, that's 5:45 central. Lake Ivanhoe, that's about 6:05. Genoa City, that's 6:04. Union Grove, 6:29 central. Somers, 6:38. Racine, 6:50. Okay. Let's watch the cell. I mean, it's been a powerhouse of a cell. In addition, this storm, as it does move east, northeast, it's producing over 2+ inch hail. I mean, it is a monster storm, no doubt about it. Very nasty storm. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that. With that being said, Michael, in Grayslake, Illinois, you certainly need to be very mindful of that particular storm as it continues to pack a punch. We do have a tornado warning, a very similar area. If you watched John and I the other day, just west of Dubuque. So let's talk about some of these storms as well. In fact, before we get into that real quick, certainly if you're in this tornado warning, before I even get into some of the deeper analysis into it, wouldn't play around with it, just given the environment, go ahead and seek shelter. I'm going to have my team get me some more coffee. I need some more caffeine. All right, let's take a look at this cell. Again, we're looking just west of Dubuque at this moment in time. Just west of Dubuque, we have a tornado warning cell. It includes areas like Epworth, Centralia, Piasta, Asbury, Bernard. So what I'm doing, oh yeah. In fact, there may be one needed, I'll be honest, south of this, east of Monticello. There may be a secondary area of rotation that's not yet in a tornado warning. We'll time that out as well. But certainly I see some rotation in this. I'll get to your question, Amanda, in a moment for Chicago. I see some rotation between Worthington and Cascade. This little notch, I would venture to guess, into here. And again, the concern, there it is. There's the tornado warning I just mentioned that they would probably need to do. So let's talk about these two areas of rotation I'm noting within this particular system. We're going to first talk about this one, and then we'll time out the next one. I'm just curious what the NWS is getting for their speed. They're getting 55 miles per hour. I think my team's been getting closer to 45. Let me confirm with the team, and then we'll draw out some timings of these storms. But certainly, if you're in these two tornado warnings I've been discussing, go ahead and seek shelter. We're going to use 45 miles per hour as a base for right now. See if they get something a little bit higher, but we can always adjust the timing. Let's see here. I screwed that one up. Not sure what's going on here. Let's see if I can get this going. There we go. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Shout out to Daniel for getting me some new coffee. 48 miles per hour. Okay, so a little bit faster. $50 miles per hour. Okay. How about this? We're gonna have to do a new timing because I do want to get some more cities involved with this. Have this go through the border. Let's use a little bit more of an aggressive time frame. Still not a whole lot of cities showing up. But if you can imagine a line kind of north of this, 514 Central Lamont, that'd be 525, right? St. Donatus, that'd be 532. Okay. We're going to shift gears back south of this particular one. Tornado on the ground just north of Rockford, Illinois. Yeah, for sure. And we've been talking about this one for some time, north of Rockford. I'm going to assume it's in this spot here. Yeah, we've got a tornado reported. It is a tornado reported now north of Rockford. I think the last measurement the team got was 40 miles per hour. Let's see what the NWS is getting for it. They got 40 miles per hour. Perfect. Always good when the NWS and us agree on the same thing. Let's retime this out. I certainly want to continue to keep a close eye on this cell, and I want to go back to around Cascade because there is another area of rotation I want to discuss with that particular cell. But the rotation showing up continues to look pretty decent. Obviously, it's a confirmed tornado north of Rockford. Kind of, I would say, a couple areas it could be, to be honest. Let me switch up the radar sites, see if I can get a better radar scan from one further to the south. Milwaukee is obviously the closest radar to that particular cell. Looks like the rotation's east of Sherland. Let me discuss with the team real quick. But if you're in this observed tornado warning, confirmed tornado warning, you can see observed on this particular tornado warning. When we're looking on clarity and the purple warnings come up, that means somebody has noted that tornado. Especially if you're in the storm and out ahead of it, seek shelter right now. Don't play around with it. The environment is very impressive, and this storm has been very impressive. Discussing a few things with my team real quick. Bear with me just a moment. Trying to pick their brains a little bit with this one. Thank you for the report, though, Donald. Always appreciate getting kind of in the field reports. Keep in mind, we do have an observed tornado warning as well east of Wausau, Wisconsin. Ashley, I mentioned northwestern Indiana. By the time they get into northwestern Indiana, tornado threat's incredibly low. It's more of a wind gust deal. It'd be overnight tonight. I think it's more of a wind gust deal. Heavy rain, thunderstorms. What I'm chatting about with the team right now is trying to get where the team thinks the rotation exactly is at. I'm going to guess probably embedded within this would be my best guess right now. But I want to see what the team's thinking with this, and we'll get a new timing out for this. Okay, they're saying the Davenport radar sees it much better. Okay, perfect. So that's essentially the area I just talked about. This little notch right into here. So let's use this. We're gonna use 42 miles per hour. Team just told me that's their latest speed that they were getting on this, and we're gonna slice this area kind of in half. And let me loop this for us, and we can get a sense of trajectory of it. We'll do something like this. And I may be too far north with this. You can see they did just issue the confirmed tornado warning a little bit further to the east as well. Okay, but I've got some times up for us. Again, I'm doing my best to time out the rotation itself. You can see keep in mind these times are in Eastern. Capron, that's 5:34. Harvard, that's 5:54 Central. Walworth, that's 5:49 Central. Alden, that's 5:52. Hebron, that's 5:58. Como, 6:01. Lake Ivanhoe, that's 6:09. Twin Lakes, 6:13. Richmond, that is 6:06 Central. Salem Lakes, that's 6:23. Bristol, 6:28. Again, I'm not going to name off every single city here, but just to give folks a general timing. Again, these are in Eastern, so subtract an hour and you get your time in Central with this particular storm as it does shift off to the east northeast over the next couple hours. I did have extended this timing. I do certainly have a concern, just given its history. It may be able to hang on to the rotation for a while. So you can see the general timing in the track with this. Okay. We do have, again, multiple tornado warnings, and I'll keep that timing there for now. So, somebody's interested about that storm moving into northeastern Illinois, southeastern Wisconsin, we can always refer back to that timing. Did get a little sidetracked with this tornado warning storm. Obviously, this one has an observed tornado warning. I want to keep a close eye on it. The environment it's in, given that it's out ahead of the main group of storms, it is probably going to be the most dangerous storm. That's not to downplay any other storms that are occurring out, along the line or out ahead. But as far as most dangerous storms, and then if you recall, eastern Kansas getting into western Missouri, we talked about this storm as well. East of Garner, moving into western Missouri with the 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts in it. That's no joke either. 80-mile-per-hour winds can do almost tornado-like damage, really. So a very dangerous storm there. I do want to pivot back to this storm northwest of Maquoketa. Again, I'm sure I'm butchering that. And let's take a look at that particular storm. In my opinion, the rotation is certainly not as clear cut on this as it perhaps once was. Where there may be a little bit of rotation is just south of Bernard. This may be the general area, so to speak. Let me make sure I've got that correct. 609. Let me bring this out another radar scan. There we go. That helps. Yeah, if there's going to be one, in my opinion, it's probably, well, there could be a couple of opportunities. Let's go ahead and time this whole area out. There may be 1, 2, 3 different areas of rotation. There may be some small rotations, but again, I've mentioned it a couple times, not playing around with these. Okay. Without further ado, let's do this. I'm going to use about 48 miles per hour on this. Well, 50, I think the team was getting earlier, so we'll use what the team was getting. It's a bit of an odd-shaped one. For some of you folks out ahead of this to get a sense of timing. You can see Lamont, that's about 528 Central, Andrew 532, Springbrook 540 Central, Bellevue 543, Rice 541, Hanover 552. Okay. If this can survive as it moves east, for some of you folks in northwestern Illinois, you can see these times again in eastern, so subtract an hour, Stockton 607, same for Pleasant Valley. I continue to keep a very close eye on some of these storms into far northeastern Illinois, southeastern Wisconsin. Not to downplay this either, but outside of the tornado-warned storms, keep in mind into southeastern Iowa, we do have a destructive thunderstorm warning. Wow, 90-mile-per-hour winds. That's absolutely incredible. With some of these storms just south of Iowa City. National Weather Service got 50 miles per hour for that as well. I think that's probably going to be a good base for us to use for a timing of this group of storms. I want to do a little bit of confirmation on my end. That's an unbelievable warning. The wording on that is truly pretty incredible. And we also have, again, the tornado warning towards West Liberty as well. And so we've got kind of a bit of a double whammy, so to speak, with this storm. So let's take a look. We're gonna use 50 miles per hour of this particular storm. Make this blue. And let's go out with this for about 2 hours. Let's just kind of get out of this for some of you folks in Davenport. Here's some times of this particular cell. I've got, again, in Eastern, so subtract an hour. You can get your times in Central. The warning associated with this, there's two separate warnings with this particular cell. There's one, a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. That's the orange warning you can see in the background. I know it's covered. We got the blue where the timing tracker is. We've got the red tornado warning. We've obviously got the storms on the radar, and this orange warning, it may be a little hard to see. That's the destructive thunderstorm warning with 90-mile-per-hour winds, up to 90-mile-per-hour winds being noted. I think especially along the apex of this bow, that's going to be the area of most concern with this. We take out our drawing tool, and let's make this red. And as far as the threat for a tornado, looks like just south of Riverside. Let me zoom in for a little bit for us. This particular notch right into here. And so if we kind of track this in particular, I'll bring out the drawing tool one more time. At least into the short term, the area of greatest concern for that particular tornado, okay? You can see the little inflow notch. That's where I see the rotation being the highest. And then outside of that, the blue area in general, that's just the general strong wind gust threat, especially just south of this red line, probably closer to the blue line. We'll see if this can start to, with time, it'll want to shift maybe a little bit kind of take more of an easterly route. Regardless, dangerous storm. Regardless if you're in my threat area for the tornado or not. We got tornado warning and wind gusts up to 90 miles per hour. Pretty incredible. Again, we have multiple tornado warnings into northeastern Iowa. I do want to at least kind of scan back to this storm into northern Illinois. It's been the storm of the day, so to speak. Again, not to downplay any other storms in the area. We also have a tornado warned storm south of Kansas City towards Belton as well, towards Belton. And so we've got a lot going on. No doubt about it, a lot going on. If you're watching this stream and you know someone in this area, like, share, comment. We'd be happy to help. But I'll stick around for about another 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes or so. I may hop off here, take a quick break, and we'll see if we need to get back on for later as things start to evolve a little bit. But just kind of a forewarning for some of you folks who are still watching this. Since we haven't talked about it a whole lot, I do want to discuss this tornado warned storm by Belton, eastern Kansas, getting into western Missouri. You can see the tornado warning in those spots towards Greenwood, Missouri as well. We're talking just south of the Kansas City metro at this point in time. And let me see from a rotation perspective what we're dealing with. A little loose. I wouldn't play around with it again. Let's just time this out. About 50 miles per hour for this storm as well. So we're going to make another track on this. I think in addition to any tornado that may be embedded within this area, 60 plus mile per hour winds will also be possible. In fact, let me. You can still see in this area, this is still the same area that has up to 80 mile per hour wind gusts in this line. So no joke. We'll see how long this area, any rotation in this can last. But to give folks a general idea of the timing, again, in Eastern, the times you see, so subtract an hour. 5:33 Lee Summit, 5:37 Greenwood. I do want to pivot back. My team's telling me into Iowa. That is now a confirmed. So if you recall the rotation I noted, especially Riverside, Lone Tree, West Liberty, Atalissa, Nichols, then eventually getting into towards Wilton, Durant. This is a tornado reported with this particular system. Okay. Just south of the area rotation, I'm concerned that we can get, as the destructive thunderstorm tag has, it's 90 miles per hour. That's significant. Okay. So some significant storms ongoing into eastern Iowa as we speak. Another significant storm, again, right along the Illinois-Wisconsin border as well. This storm that has had rotation for really at this point for some time. We do have a tornado warning just southwest of this. This is towards Washington, Wayland as well. Seems like these storms may be speeding up a touch. Teams getting a little bit more consistently near 50 miles per hour, with the exception of that storm leading the charge along the Illinois-Wisconsin border. But I'm trying to assess towards, say, like Wayland, this other tornado warning, which is not an observed tornado. Much more difficult to say where the rotation may be in that particular tornado warned storm. Just looking at some of the velocities on the radar. Okay, much less clear cut in my opinion. This pretty clear cut where I see some rotation. So again, Riverside, Lone Tree, West Liberty, you need to be seeking shelter right now. Here's some general timelines. And then I've got out ahead of this storm some general timings. You need to be aware of 60+ mile per hour winds with this, and unfortunately there can still be some embedded tornadoes. But we can already see as I zoom out a little bit what's occurring. Things are starting to congeal a little bit. We're getting a little bit more congealing of some of these storms. So as that occurs more, the tornadic threat will become less. It won't become zero, but it will become less as these storms start to shift to the east a little bit. In fact, I want to check with my team real quick. Guys, if you want to get on Clarity, top right-hand corner of the QR code, you can scan that. We are offering 20% off. Use code STORM20 to get the discounted price with that. So my team will also send a sign-up link. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to sign off a little bit for now. Of course, as a team, we're going to continue to send updates to clients, chat with clients, send updates as necessary. But I'm going to take a quick little break right now, and we'll continue to assess. And if necessary, I will get back on later after a little break if we still seem that's necessary. But keep in mind, if you're along the Illinois-Wisconsin border, still some dangerous storms. If you're along the Iowa-Illinois border, still some dangerous storms ongoing. And so we'll continue to keep an eye on all of this. If you're in the Clarity application, be sure to check out those nowcasts, reach out with those questions to help guide you through this powerful storm system. So again, we may be back on later. We're going to take a quick little break here, regroup, recharge, and we'll see if we'll get back on later in this evening. I appreciate everyone joining. This